wow. I really enjoyed that film. They have a lot of films involving infections and stuff that you never actually find out what the infection is, and a lot of them just have total crap endings, and I really enjoyed your film. And as I was speaking with you earlier, you said that you were kind of new to this. So is this your first film? Or
it's my first as director.
First as director.
I made a short film, but this is my first feature.
Right.
But I've done a lot of writing scripts in Hollywood, so I've mainly been a writer. The script is the foundation of the film, so I wanted to make sure I spent some time learning how to build a solid foundation to the film, and then the directing you lay on top of that.
Right. How hard was it to make a full-length feature film in one room?
Very hard, but my feeling was that if it's hard to make an interesting script that's set in one room. So I felt that if people would come back from reading the script and say, that's I didn't think you could do it, but you did, then maybe we could carry that over to the film. And that's exactly what people did say with the script. They all came back and said, wow, I just thought one film in one room sounded kind of boring. But you can do it. I mean, 12 Angry Men is all set in one room, and it's a classic. So I kind of thought, you know, it can be done.
Did you have a specific target audience in mind when you wrote your script?
Yeah, anyone who likes The Apprentice should like this movie.
Okay. Okay.
I just kind of felt like 20s and 30s, urban people who live in, you know, cities and are at college and want to do well in life. It's all about ambition, really, and whether you should sacrifice your moral principles for your ambitions.
Right. Okay. What do you personally think makes a film good? You said the script earlier, but is that like the only thing that you think?
No, I think that the script is the single most important thing, because you can make a good script bad, but you can't make a bad script good in the making of the film. So if you go in with a bad script or a script that you're still trying to write, that's a bit dodgy.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I think, you know, it does help if a director brings a particular viewpoint and has a sense of style and knows how to work with actors. So the thing about film is it's such a complicated medium because there are so many elements. So there are a million ways for a film to go wrong. Probably only 5 or 10 to go right. So that's what you're always struggling with. If you're an artist with a canvas, you've got one piece of canvas, or if you're a novelist with a book, you just have to write. But there are so many things that you rely on. And I wrote and directed and did half of the producing on this film, so I had a lot more control over it than most first-time directors do. But even then, I was aware that every day it was like predicting the weather. There were so many problems that come up, and so many people have slightly different ideas about things, and you're aware that if you make one wrong decision that ends up in the film, and then you sit there with an audience going, oh no, that didn't work, then, you know, it can ruin a whole film. I remember, for example, in the 90s watching that Harrison Ford movie, Air Force One, and I really enjoyed the movie and thought, wow, this is a great Die Hard style movie. And then in the last 2 minutes of the film, they have this computer-generated shot of Air Force One landing on the water, and it was terrible. It was like, you know, someone did it on their little Mac in the recess.
Yeah.
And it ruined the whole movie for me, because when I went out, that's all I could
remember. They didn't even try.
And I haven't watched it since.
Yeah.
And I always keep that in my mind, that you can lose it on the last hurdle. It's a hurdle race and you can fall right.
So this was like your baby. You said you did a lot for this.
Yeah, it's been probably, with all the writing as well, it's been about 2 years of my life. So.
Okay, so I wouldn't say it, but what if somebody came up to you and was like, I just thought this was crap? Like, would you take that really personally, or would you be like, okay, I've got to do something different?
Well, I think I would want to know why. I think nobody's more critical of a film than the person who made it.
Right.
And it really depends on the mood I'm in. Sometimes I'm in a glass half full mood and I sit there and watch the film and think, wow, this is amazing what we did, and I'm right. And other times I'm in a bit of a, you know, down mood and I look at all the flaws in the movie and I'm right, those flaws are there. It's just a case of which one outbalances the other. I think on balance I'm pretty happy with it. Most of the time I watch it I'm like, oh, that worked. It's like relief, still relief, because I remember how, you know, close we came to not doing it that way.
So if somebody did come up to you and say that's crap, you'd be like, well, I liked it, so whatever.
Well, I'm in Scotland, so I'd probably just nut them. You know, everyone's opinion is their opinion, and I kind of felt, you know, with what the film is saying and with the twist at the end and all those things, if I could get, you know, 3/4 of the audience to really dig it, I'd be doing pretty well.
Do you like to watch your films with the audience and like gauge their reaction, or?
Well, I think that in the beginning, we're still in the beginning right now, and I'm not quite convinced enough that most people like it to be fully relaxed.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, every audience we've showed it to so far has responded positively. positively.
I really enjoyed
You're
the
always
twist.
aware that people could like not like it.
Yeah.
You know, I've known some films that have seemed to be liked early on, and then for some reason during the course of their release, the critics start to turn against them, and there's a backlash. And so who knows? It's just a roller coaster ride, and you just have to believe in that what you've done is the best that you could do, and enjoy it when people like it.
Will you release this, or do you hope to release this in the States or just here in the UK?
Yeah, that's the plan. We're going to try and get over to a festival there like Toronto or a bigger genre festival or something like that. And I hope in a few months we'll be trying to get some kind of American deal. We have a sales agent in the States who are sort of ready to go. But obviously this is a UK film, so first of all we wanted to premiere it here and concentrate a bit more on Europe, and then we'll go off to the States, to Toronto or the AFM and sell it.
Was there a really particular message that you wanted your audience to get? Like you said about ambition and like should you sacrifice your moral values for your ambition, but was there something deeper?
Well, I wasn't really thinking about the one-line message too strongly until a journalist asked me this the other day, and then I had to sort of come up with something. So now I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
And what I said to him was that ambition is a good thing, and all the great advances in the world that we have come through ambition. But ambition divorced from moral principle leads you down a very dark path. And I think that's probably a pretty good way to put it, because that allows me to express what the film is about without telling you how it ends, which I don't want to do.
Okay, right, okay.
Well, if that was your first film, I'm sure looking forward to seeing another one from you, because
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it.
I need a really long holiday before I even start to think about the second one.
What do you like to watch?
I have really, really wide tastes. I think when I was a kid I was very sci-fi, and this movie has a little bit of sci-fi in it. I was very sort of Ridley Scott and George Lucas. And then in my sort of teens I started getting into mainstream drama and started liking the work of directors like Peter Weir and Spike Lee and Oliver Stone. And now my tastes are really broad. One night I'm watching Antonioni, and the next night I'm watching a genre film. But I tend to go for stuff that's fairly serious, whether it's art house or big Hollywood stuff. I don't tend to go for the sort of roller coaster gag-filled blockbusters or horror comedies like Scream. I'm more into Sixth Sense and The Exorcist and stuff. I like the more serious.
So no romantic comedies?
Romantic comedies are one of the few that kind of work in their own little worlds. They're off to the side, and I quite like them. I definitely, even though I'm a sci-fi fan and I write sci-fi and have written a couple of sci-fi films, I would rather have a good romantic comedy than a bad sci-fi. I'm not committed to any one genre. I just want a good filmmaker.
Okay. And just for the record, this is Stuart Hazeldine?
Stuart Hazeldine. Yep.
Dean, sorry, okay. And we just watched Exam, and it was brilliant.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we know your time is very valuable, and we sure appreciate you taking a few minutes out to give us this small interview.
Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, sure did.